Alabama pretty much put the beat down on Tennessee. The final score 49-10. There were a lot of orange people behind me strolling out of the stadium, actually a lot earlier than expected considering they have all these comebacks. But Alabama just ran up that scoreboard, and you got to start with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. He was a little bit inconsistent through the game, had those interceptions early, one that turned around for a score, but he's impressive, and just to think he's only a freshman.
It's really early, but you have to start thinking of him in terms of being maybe the best running quarterback in Alabama history. Has a way to go in the passing game. He hit some nice passes deep. They put some pressure on him. Cam Robinson got embarrassed by Derek Barnett that caused the sack and the turnover early to set up Tennessee's touchdown. But his maturity, his ability to run the read option at times, and whoever thought we'd see a Nick Saban team running the read option and doing it well, but that's exactly what they do. It's very hard to account for Jalen Hurts and what he can do with his legs. That's why it's hard for defenses to deal with Alabama as an offensive football team.
Yeah, because you look at the stat sheet right here, we were just reading over it. It's very impressive to see rushing yards, 438 rushing yards alone for this Alabama team, 32 carries, 32 rushing yards for Tennessee. Obviously a dismal performance from those guys, and really this game got out of reach and pretty boring there in the second half.
And let's be honest, though, this is a good Tennessee football team. It is a very beat-up Tennessee football team. They're missing a number of first-line players on offense and defense. But Alabama did what you're supposed to do to another good team that's wounded. They didn't give them a chance in the second half. They didn't let them up in the second half. They didn't let them smell any kind of hope that they might stage another one of those amazing comebacks that Tennessee's done all year. That's the difference in Alabama right now. They are head and shoulders above Tennessee, which is a good football team. They just didn't see a healthy Tennessee. I'm not sure that the outcome would have been much different had Tennessee been healthy.
Okay, we look at the non-offensive touchdowns, 11. They went up to 11, 10, then 11, which is the most in the Saban era. Last year they set the record at 10, now 11 when Eddie Jackson ran it back, the punt return for the touchdown. Just how impressive and how big is this for this Alabama team, for these guys to go out and put more points on the board than some SEC teams do on offense?
It's not just encouraging to Alabama when Ronnie Harrison picks off the screen pass and takes it the distance, or when Eddie Jackson continues to look like the best punt returner in America and goes the distance. It is demoralizing to the other team when your opponent scores when they don't even have the ball. Obviously you have to get the ball, but when you score on special teams and you score on defense the way Alabama does consistently, that's the most under Nick Saban, as you said. There are 5 games left in the regular season. Who knows where they're going to set this number at? It is truly one of the things that sets this Alabama team apart from previous Nick Saban teams. And I dare I say it, it's early. We're still at a lot of football to go. This is starting to look like maybe Nick Saban's best team.
Hey, and we talked about it this week. We said 1, maybe 2 non-offensive touchdowns this week for the streak to keep going. Our predictions pretty spot on there. I just wanted to pat ourselves on the back a little bit.
We also said Alabama would win this game handily, and they did.
Fact. Yes. Now, last question. Alabama goes back home, and they're taking on Texas A&M. In terms of roadblocks, do you foresee this to be the one and only roadblock that Alabama faces the rest of the season before the road to the SEC championship begins?
Not so fast. I wouldn't quite say that. However, when this stretch started, and we knew this was going to be a very difficult stretch at Arkansas, at Tennessee, or it looked like it on paper anyway, Texas A&M at home. A&M is sitting at home this week. They're resting, they're recuperating, they're recovering, they're gearing up for that trip to Tuscaloosa. If there is one team in this stretch that I thought could beat Alabama, it was Texas A&M. They're not as good as Alabama. If Alabama plays like it can play, that game won't be close either. But Alabama's playing its 8th game in 8 weeks without a break. We'll see if that's an equalizer at all. Right now, I don't think so. This team's rolling.